this is only one side of the story. That's not sufficient. Just being the truth, the aspect of one side is there. But the other side of it is that when this source comes to you, you become the compassion. The truth and the compassion are one thing. You won't believe, but it is so. Like the wick and the oil combine to form the light. It is the burning of the oil gives you the light. In the same way, the compassion gives you the truth. There's no difference whatsoever. Only the state is different. That you cannot see the light, which is oil, and oil, which is burning. So compassion is the one which is the source as well as your store. So from the source of compassion, you get your compassion. You see, I have seen people, they want to have compassion from me. They want that I should love them. But reflect it back. Do they love others like that? I have known people, say for one person, says harsh things to another. One comes and asks me, Mother, forgive me for that. Or does something harsh just for the whim of the mind. Mother, forgive me. But when you ask for that, I would like to know, have you given compassion to another person? Even after getting forgiveness from me, that source of forgiveness, that source of compassion, have you given compassion to others? Have you been compassionate to others? You see, it should not be one-sided. But Sahaja Yoga is different. In Sahaja Yoga, you not only grow as a plant, but also as the source of the plant. If this plant is removed from here, put somewhere, it will give water to other plants. Do you know this new dimension that you have within yourself? That once this plant is uprooted from here and taken out, it will not die, not at all. It will grow, but it will make others grow. This is another type of a growth that we have. And it's a very different position we are in. And that's what now I want, that all of you, even if you are uprooted and put into any other place. I've seen when I ask people that you better shift from here to there, they just get frightened. You better go there and do this. They get frightened. You are a plant which can not only go and prosper in any place, but you will give the necessary nourishment to other plants. That's what you are.
How do we fight our ego with our spirit? How do we do?
How do we fight the ego? See, you should never fight it. If you try to fight it, it will sit more on your head. That's not the way to fight it. That there is ego and you fight your ego, oh yeah, I'm going to box you, then it will grow more. See, the more you box it, the more it will grow. Never fight your ego. Only way is to see it. Your attention is very important. Your attention is now enlightened. Whatever you see, it comes to its right side. It comes to its right side. Size. Say ego. If it is overgrown, you just watch your ego. Best is to watch yourself in the mirror and you say, oh, Mr. Ego, how do you do? Then it will come down. But don't fight it. Just to be seen. All kinds of egos could be there. If you are overeducated, you are egoistical. If you are uneducated, you are egoistical because you must try to show that you are something. All sorts of egos are there. So best thing is to see for yourself. That's why I say face yourself. Yourself means your spirit. You see, ego makes you idiotic. Absolutely. Ego makes you idiotic. Makes an idiot out of you. Absolutely. And the superego makes you a coward. It makes you a coward. Now how to fight it? I'm not going to be an idiot if you say that. Ego will go away. What other question?
Srimati, can you say something about maintaining our attention so that it stays where it should and doesn't get diverted into trivial things?
Rustam has asked a very practical question. It's true that to keep the attention where it should be. You see, for everything you have to do some exercise, abhyas. Not before realization, after realization. The best way is to learn how to watch yourself. Just start sitting here. Just put yourself into a position from where you watch yourself. Now what am I doing? This is the abhyas. This is the study. Apart from mantras, apart from anything, the abhyas is the practice. Practice of becoming a witness. And the witness is the spirit state. Then attention will not go. I mean, you will see everything, it's there. But attention will be inside. Try to practice this. Am I a witness? Now say, some people say, oh God, I had a horrible time, whether this happened, that happened. See, you are not a witness. How can you have a horrible time if you are the spirit? You only have a horrible time when you are not the spirit. If you can watch the whole thing as a drama that is played, then you are not having a horrible time, but this outside of you is having a horrible time which you are watching. That's how the attention can be fixed very well. If you practice abhyas, practice all the time to be witness. Say you go out, you see something, just try to see it, not to think about it. Be a witness of the whole thing. The joy will be complete, and also you will become absolutely peaceful. Your attention will be completely enlightened. And then the inspiration you will get will be tremendous. See, it's working out. Working out. Try to watch. Then it's so enjoyable. How beautiful we are, that everything is so beautiful around us to see. Such beauty exists and we do not see it. Such tremendous joy, every bliss is there flowing within us. And we don't know, we don't notice it. It's such a happy thing. It's such a beautiful thing. Oh God, such a source of joy was just standing next to me, I never knew. And just I turned around and saw that force. Turn around. Turn your back. All conditionings of yours, the ideas that you have. Do not pass judgment. First thing is. Great art critics and all that, please, I beg of you, that do not pass remarks at anything all the time. Is ego playing the trick. Just watch it, how it is making you feel that you are something very great. Be careful. Also wars, things have come in that generation, people have been shattered of their values. All you must understand what kind of life this horrible Western society can give to women who are good. Good women are really tortured in this society. Only the smart ones and the ones who are very arrogant and who know how to put men right and women right in their places can exist. You see, this is what it is. It's a regular struggle here. Any good woman is tortured in this society. I mean, if she exists and she really lives, it's something surprising. Ask Maria, will tell you. You ask her. How they put them down, how they insult them, how, I mean, everybody has seen this happening here.